Welcome to today's policy meeting of the Phoenix City Council. We have one item on today's agenda, but before we get to that substantive item, I'll now turn to members of the council to see if they have any information and or follow-up requests they'd like to tell the city manager or the public at large. Members of the council? Councilwoman Stark, you go.
Thank you, Amir. I just have one announcement, and that is to please join me for my District 3 coffee chat this Friday, February the 10th at Paradise Valley Mall at 8 a.m. The guest speaker is none other than our mayor, Greg Stanton. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Fit Phoenix program, and so we're going to encourage people to wear comfortable shoes, and after our morning discussion, we're going to walk around the mall and support Paradise Valley Mall. So I hope to see everyone there, 8 a.m. Friday. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to tell everyone I went to the Bridgewater Deer Valley opening, and it's very exciting because they are taking the old hotel at Union Hills and I-17 and converting it into a very, very nice, affordable housing for retirees, especially for vets. And they will have people stationed there that can help them find the funding to be able to live there. And it is extremely nice. They will have converted the hotel rooms into individual apartments. And then the lobby area is turning into a large dining room and community room. And they have an inner courtyard that will be accessible to everybody that lives there, and then we'll have recreational opportunities there. But what a great use for an old hotel that was going downhill and becoming very negative impact on the surrounding neighborhood. So it's very exciting. Next faith breakfast for District 1 is 7:30 this Thursday, and it will be at the Deer Valley Airport Restaurant. Want to remind everyone that Chinese Week starts at Margaret Hance Park, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Have everybody come out and have a lot of fun. And AMWA is hosting a reception and with Senator John Kyle to help educate our state legislators, the new ones, about water in Arizona, what's available, what's going on. So it's very positive, and want to encourage people to attend. And then on February 18th, I will be participating on a panel at the Community Open House at the United Islamic Center of Arizona, which is at Yorkshire and 35th Avenue. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Pastor.
I want to congratulate those 29 graduates from the Career Online High School that happened this past Saturday. We have enrolled over 109 students, and thank you for their success, and they all have jobs, which is great. Please join me February 15th, coffee with Sheriff Penzone at Adam Diaz Center at 8:30, and we will have a great conversation. Want to remind those that are interested in the 19th Avenue corridor between Indian School and Bethany, please come out. We will be having on March 27 the future of 19th Avenue. And then want to congratulate my office for hosting and Chris Mackey for facilitating a small business workshops in El Centro on 43rd Avenue and Indian School. Just want to remind everybody, we have the home tours and the street fairs happening. Willows will be Sunday, February 12th, this Sunday. Coronado, Sunday, February 26th. Then we have the Melrose Street Fair, Saturday, March 4th. So looking forward to seeing everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Other members of the council, comments or questions? Councilman Waring, please.
Thank you. So we're going to have a meeting, district meeting on Thursday night at Paradise Valley Community Center, which is at 40th Street on the west side of 40th Street, north of Bell, north of Paradise Valley High School, for those who are familiar, at 6 o'clock this coming Thursday night. And we'd love to see you there. Bill Gates will be our guest. We asked the best county supervisor, Denny Barney, but he was unavailable, so we picked Bill instead.
You're bad.
I'm kidding.
Wow.
Sorry. Bill, if you're watching, I'm just kidding. So, but Bill Gates is going to be there,
Rest
obviously.
of the-
So we know well. He's got a PowerPoint presentation. It sounds exciting. For those who are blogging about whether we'll discuss sanctuary cities, happy to discuss it to my heart's content. I know Bill has another obligation, so he's going to go first and give his presentation. He may have thoughts on that too. I don't know, but I'm happy to stay and answer questions afterwards. But in any case, 6 o'clock this coming Thursday night. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Denny Barney's the best.
Well, they're all so good.
They're also good. All right, good. Other members, Councilman Noakowski, please.
Mayor, I just want to thank everyone that came out to the Levine Parade this Saturday. Great turnout. The weather was perfect. Thank you all for continuing to organize that parade for our community out there in Levine. And this Saturday, February 11th at 10 o'clock till 5 o'clock, we're going to have the Levine barbecue. So if you want some of the greatest barbecue you've ever tasted, come on down to Corona Ranch right off of 29th Avenue. In Baseline, we're going to have the 65th annual Levine barbecue at Corona Ranch. So come on down. Also, I want to thank all the pastors. We had about 50, 60 pastors yesterday at City Hall, and our guest speakers were Michelle Reagan and Paul Pensone. It was a great dialogue, great discussion, and just really want to thank our guest speakers for coming down and having that conversation with our Hispanic pastors in District 7. Also, I just want to let everybody know that this month is actually Graffiti Awareness Month. So if you're out there, let's paint up the graffiti. Let's make Phoenix graffiti free. We have all kinds of resources out there in the city of Phoenix, from paint to, we even match your paint to the walls that you have. We have brushes, and if you want to get trained on a high power compressor painter, we'll actually do that too. I think the mayor wanted to actually use it the other day, and they held them back because they were afraid to give them that gun loaded with paint. Thank you once again, Mayor, for that press conference and educating people of making the city of Phoenix graffiti free. Also, we have 5 senators and a couple of congressmen coming in from Mexico this week. They're arriving Thursday, and they'll be here until Sunday just to talk about the reality of what's going on with the Mexican citizens here in the United States, and especially in the Phoenix area. So we'll be meeting with them and actually letting them know what's going on and all the different changes that are going on in our country and within our city. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman Noakowski. Councilman DeCiccio, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Next week, the City of Phoenix is going to be voting on an historic measure dealing with sanctuary cities, a petition. I'm going to encourage people to come to the council meeting. I made a prediction about a week ago that city staff, working with the politicians behind closed doors, is going to find a way to kill it so that it doesn't get there because no one wants to vote on it. I like to vote on it. I'm a clear no. I don't believe that the city of Phoenix ought to be a sanctuary city. But at least you'll know where I stand. I don't talk from both sides of my mouth. You'll always hear me say where I'm at on that. But I do believe that there will be conversations about it being illegal. All these things are going to be brought out to create confusion in the public. It's going to be a very clear decision, I believe. It'll be either yes, we are going to be a sanctuary city, or no, we're not, and I think it'll bring clarity. But what I will be concerned about is that this thing is trying to be killed behind closed doors. If it does, it does. At least the city of Phoenix will not be a sanctuary city at that point, because we are not today. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much, Councilman DeCiccio. Councilman Valenzuela.
Thanks, Mayor. I want to thank Kimber Lanning and Local First Arizona, Fuerza Local, for the community breakfast that we had out in Maryvale. This was an opportunity to bring business leaders together to learn more about what Fuerza Local and Local First Arizona is doing in the community since its inception, not Local First, but Fuerza. Since its inception, 77 businesses have actually been born out of the program, and 80% are still actively participating. Very exciting, and so since 2016, 75 jobs have been created. The gross sales for graduation in just 2016 has been $5.2 million. So a great opportunity to continue to move our economy forward from the very foundation, which happens to be small businesses, local businesses, our entrepreneurs. And so I want to thank Kimber Lanning for continuing the efforts, and I look forward to teaming up with Fuerza Local and Local First Arizona. That was just this morning. Couple of other announcements that I want to make for future events. Excuse me. On Wednesday, February 15th, at the Maryville Community Center, I will be hosting a community conversation, community panel with Chief Jerry Williams, our Phoenix Police Chief. Inger Erickson has agreed to be part of that panel. She is our Parks and Recreations Director. Jens Habian is a friend and an immigration attorney, and another friend and pastor, Warren Stewart Jr., will be part of the panel, and it is to discuss any community issues that we have out in Maryville. We have a long history of working with our police officers and our community leaders on community-based policing, and this is a type of thing that we have to continue to have, not just in Maryville, but all of our neighborhoods. So it is an open meeting. Anyone is welcome. Again, February 15th at 6 p.m. at the Maryville Community Center, 4420 North 51st Avenue on the 15th. And finally, I'm looking forward to this event on Saturday, this Saturday, February 11th, at Open Door Fellowship. The address 8301 North 19th Avenue. We have Love Our Community, the Love Our Community event. This is, I believe, the third or fourth year that we've been able to do this. This happened out of the light rail construction that we had on 19th Avenue, which is incredibly important, something that I have been very supportive of, and working closely with our partners, such as Valley Metro. Of course, the City of Phoenix did a really good job with this as well, organizing this. But we couldn't do it without Open Doors Fellowship. We couldn't do it with all those local businesses that have come together, collectively supporting one another, giving us a chance to support local businesses during the construction phase. Now 19th Avenue looks great. Light rail is complete. And that effort that I just described is now known as 19 North. So there's some great branding on 19th Avenue because of it. And so all are welcome. Again, this Saturday, the 11th, 8:30 a.m. check-in. We're going to start with a cleanup event in the area, which is what we all do. In District 5, we continue with the community service there. And then we'll have the actual fair there at Open Door Fellowship with food trucks and bounce houses, music, several activities, everything for the entire family, and it is a free event. So all are welcome there as well. And that's all I have. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilman Valenzuela. Let's see, is there a call for executive session?
Mayor?
Oh, I apologize, Vice Mayor Gallego.
Wonderful. Thank you
Please.
so much. I will be quick, but since Councilman Nowakowski reminded everyone about the Levine barbecue coming up this weekend, I thought I'd remind everyone he's the defending champion among elected officials in the cow milking challenge. And so everyone should ask him next week if he was able to defend that title.
I think you're in, win me this year, Vice Mayor.
I came in second to last, so hopefully I can redeem District 8 sometime in the future. District 8 was also very excited to have Reimagine Phoenix come out to the Levine Community Parade and educate the community about recycling and the new promotion, because we're getting a lot of questions and how it was related to the city. So we got to spread some good information. A lot of exciting events coming up next week as well. On Monday the 13th, folks from our Garfield community will be meeting with Neighborhood Services at Garfield Elementary School at 6 p.m. to discuss their vision for the future of the neighborhood. And on Thursday the 16th, our very own Chief Williams is going to be able to stay in District 8, her home district, for a joint meeting of Lindo Park and the Hermoso Park Neighborhood Association at the Lindo Park Rec Center at 6:30. So I would encourage folks to come out for that. And that's it, Mayor. Thank you much.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. I now turn to Councilman Valenzuela. Is there a call for an executive session today? Do we know? Is there a consent agenda or call for executive session? There is one. Okay. We've got to find it.
Stand by, Mayor, please. Yeah, thank you. Mayor, in accordance with the properly posted notice and agenda, I move that the City Council pursuant to Arizona's revised statutes, Section 38-431.02.a, meet in executive session on Tuesday, February 21st, 2017, at 1 p.m. in the East Conference Room, 12th floor of the Phoenix City Hall, 200 West Washington Street, Phoenix, Arizona.
There's a motion, is there a second? There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item passes unanimously. Now move on to our regular agenda. Today's, one item on today's agenda is a discussion and possible action of a Ethics Commission, its formation, frivolous complaints, and ethics ordinance effective date. This is a result of the last meeting, which there was a request for a continuance because there was concerns about the makeup of the committee that potentially would make recommendations for an ethics commission, how to handle frivolous complaints, issues related to effective date. Councilman Williams had some very good suggestions, and so I wanted her the opportunity to explain those suggestions and make a possible motion. Councilman Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an item that we have been working on for 3 or 4 years through the Public Safety Committee. It was brought to us last month, and it continued to create a fire on how this process on ethic violation would be processed. And it was, from my concern, I thought it could be easily used in a very frivolous manner to harass council members. And I did not want to see that happen. I thought it was a misjustice to the community, to the council members, and to the, frankly, and the integrity of this entire council. So as I'm sitting in my doctor's office, I started to do this outline and a flow chart, and I put it up here, and if I could briefly walk you through it. I went off of what we had last time, but with some major modifications. I would still say the council appoints the JSAB. They recommend members of the Ethics Commission. I'm proposing 5 members, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, 1 independent. They must be a Phoenix resident. They cannot be an elected official. They can't be a precinct man, and diversity has to count in the selection of this committee. It then goes back to the council or our approval, and it has to be approved by a 3/4 vote. Okay, that sets up the commission. Now, if an inquiry, which is an ethics potential allegation, is submitted, it goes to the city clerk. City clerk sends it to the Ethics Commission. The Ethics Commission decides immediately if it's frivolous or should be studied further. If they determine it's frivolous, it's automatically closed. If it's truly frivolous, very obviously, they can recommend, they may recommend up to a $500 fine, or it can impose a fine on the individual organization that created the frivolous inquiry. However, if they think there is substance to it, in the meanwhile, I've asked that the city set up a process. We approve the hiring of an outside investigator, and that investigation is for the benefit that if the commission feels that the allegation or inquiry is possibly warranted, they send it to the outside investigator. They do the investigation, goes back to the commission, they hold a public hearing, and by at least 4 votes, they decide either the inquiry is without merit and is permanently closed, they may impose a $500 fine or reimbursement of any legal fees that could be incurred, especially after I heard Councilman DeCiccio talk about having gone through this process one time and it cost him $40,000. Pardon me? $47,000. My husband almost had heart failure when he heard you because he watches this on TV. And I think it's only fair that if someone frivolously causes an expenditure of that, they could help pay the bill. if not the entire thing. However, if the inquiry is with merit, then the commission could recommend sanctions, which comes back to the council, and at least 7 members of the council can uphold, reject, or modify their recommendation. If a recommendation with less than 7 votes, the inquiry is permanently closed. And that's, I put it up on the screen. I know it's kind of difficult, but it's a flow chart. I think it simplifies it, it keeps it fair, it's balanced, and I think it's very workable and takes out the gotcha on frivolous, any allegations that are made against the council. So I would like to see staff, in fact, I'll make the motion. I don't know if you got questions, but let me make a motion that staff update the ordinance and insert language that follows this flow chart, including that how the Ethics Commission is established, by whom, and the membership, that the membership is the 2, 2, and 1, stating the qualifications, which is they have to be a Phoenix resident, can't be a current elected official, can't serve as a precinct committee person of a political party, and that there must be a diverse pool of candidates submitted for approval. Council then approves the Ethics Commission with a 3/4 majority. The Ethics Commission makes all decisions and recommendations about the inquiries, first to determine whether inquiry is frivolous. If there is questionable, they call for an outside investigation. If the inquiry is determined frivolous, Ethics Commission can make a recommendation to a fine up to $500 and/or reimbursement of any legal fees incurred. The Ethics Commission must make all decisions and recommendations about the inquiries by at least 4 votes out of 5. Any action that fails to receive the 4 votes results in the inquiry being permanently closed. Any recommendations by the Ethics Commission to the City Council regarding inquiries must be approved with at least 4 votes, then goes to City Council. Taking the recommendation from the Ethics Commission must be adopted by at least 7 votes. If there are fewer than 7 votes, the inquiry shall be permanently closed.
All right, that is the motion. Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
There's a motion and
Mayor-
a second.
Mayor,
Councilman Valenzuela?
I want to make a substitute motion. I appreciate the motion. Councilwoman Williams, thank you for putting so much time into this. I think it makes sense, something that I fully support. I do want to offer a substitute motion to clarify when this will begin. And my substitute motion is to add that the ethics ordinance takes place on July 1st of this year, 2017, and the Ethics Commission will take place effective July 1st, 2018. Those 2 points were in my original motion just a couple weeks ago, and I want to be sure that they're in this one, so that would be my substitute motion.
Oh, yeah.
The ethics ordinance would take place July 1st, 2017. The Ethics Commission to take place ineffective January 1st, 2018.
All right, that's the substitute motion. Is there a second on the substitute motion?
Second.
All right, now we'll turn it open to members of the council. Well, first off, are there any cards in this item? I don't have any cards in front of me. Here there are a few, okay.
Mayor, before you get to cards, could I ask just a procedural issue here, question? I had questions about the budget. I wonder if that's still going to come up, because that was on the agenda.
No, this is the singular item on today's.
It says budget updates on my agenda. I can wait, it didn't matter. I'm just asking because I've got some specific questions I've got to ask the city manager.
I have a revised agenda. I assume it was properly posted and provided to members of the council.
I asked the city clerk last night, and he indicated that it had been revised, but it does say reports and budget updates by the city manager on the budget, on the
I'm usually
agenda.
pretty good about this still.
Okay,
That's okay.
well, we're on with this
We can do it
agenda.
after.
Afterwards, we'll see if the city manager had any current budget, or when we will be having a budget update by the city manager. I assume if it doesn't happen today, it'll happen in the
Well,
next
I've got questions.
policy session. Well, first, let's hear from Ms. Diane Barker, Ms. Barker, do you have any comments on the substitute motion?
I have a general comment, Mayor and Council. Diane Barker. I'm in District 7. I haven't read the ordinance, but from what I'm hearing here, yes, I am for ethics, and not only in the city, but for our elected officials. I want to caution you that this body should not be the fact gatherer and also the judge. 3 people, Democrat, Republican, and Independent. Sometimes independents lend to either party. I am really not for what's happened now, the divisions in our country that are promoted by the two-party system. I think you need to have more people in this body, and I want to see some type of relief from their decision before it even goes to court. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Barker. I have no other cards. Did anyone from the public wish to provide commentary on the substitute motion? Okay, now I'll turn it members to the council. Councilman Williams, I don't know if you have any additional explanation you want to provide at this time, or just take questions that may be coming. All right, Councilman DeCiccio, you had questions.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things. One, the motion that Councilman Valenzuela put on, you can make that as a friendly motion. That way I could make a motion to ban all gifts starting July 1, because that's kind of what I was planning on doing. I mean, do you want to just make it as a friendly motion? So that way it gives people like me the opportunity to put in the banning of the gifts.
All right, there's a motion, a substitute motion on the table.
Right.
Make any commentary you would like.
I did. I just asked if he'd be willing to do that.
Okay, I took it as substitute motion. That's what's on the floor. Please provide any
That's what
commentary
I'm
you like.
I'm asking that question, Mayor. I get I get what's going on here. What you're seeing here is I've always been advocating the banning of all gifts. I've wanted the opportunity to put that on the table to vote on it, but by this political maneuvering that you're watching up here on the council, you're seeing politics at its worst, because I think we should be voting on that. And by that simple motion about putting a date line, that could easily be put in the first motion and just allow us to vote on the banning of gifts altogether. So we're going to go through this machination of something that we just saw, this complicated.
Actually, I think it's very simple, Sal.
Well,
Councilman DeCiccio, the political maneuvering is waiting this long to finally come to a vote.
Oh, believe me,
I wanted
I've
to vote
agreed.
a week or so ago. Let's just vote. And
I'm all
if
over
it
it.
fails, then you can propose
oh
something
no,
else.
I'm all for it. Believe me,
Let's just vote on ethics.
I've said it.
Why don't we just get it passed already?
You're just
And
mad
there
because
are
I called you
excuses.
out, Danny, but that's okay.
No, Sal, we'll all read about it in your next email.
Of
We'll all
course,
read about
because I wanna ban the
ugly
gifts.
part of politics in
Well,
your
then
next
make
email.
it a friendly motion. But either way, I know it's not going to happen. I'm fine with this, you know, and I've told that to Thelda before. It's just that it's this last minute stuff, putting it out there. 3 years in the making. I get it. Believe me. I think we should have voted on this a long time ago, and it shouldn't have taken 3 years. But that was the question that I had. If you could just allow us the opportunity to ban gifts is what I'd like to do. But I'm hearing that that's not going to happen, and that's just the way it is. Thank you, Mayor.
I thank you very much. Any other questions by members of this council? Councilman Waring, please.
Yeah, I was wondering if, I guess the maker of the substitute, since I think that's what we're on, correct?
We are on the substitute motion, which incorporates the original motion.
Would it be possible
With some
to
changes
make
to
it
it.
7 members of the commission instead of 5?
All right, so the motion was for 5 members. That's the motion that's on the table. So I guess it would be theoretically possible that wasn't the motion made.
I would want to know the same thing.
You can, well, I mean, you can pick it. You could do 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans, and an independent.
I wouldn't support 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans, and 1 independent. I would,
All right, then.
How about 2, 2, and 3?
3 meaning which, the independent?
Independents.
I would support,
I
or you could
mean,
do-
I can
you could do
support that.
9. I mean,
Well, the bigger we get it, the more
That's fine. I mean,
complicated
whatever-
it is. And proportionally, the rest would change accordingly to the number of members.
And can I ask about that? Are we voting on this chart? Is this a legal
Yes.
document? We are. We're voting on this chart, Brad, that's correct? You're not nodding your head.
Well-
one way or the other?
Mayor, Councilman Waring, there was a motion made, and the motion made generally tracks the features of the chart and requests that the pending ordinance that was before you before be modified in accordance with the motion as substituted by Councilman Valenzuela.
Okay, so the current motion is the substitute,
Yes.
and this is effectively that motion. Is that right? I mean, as Sal pointed out, we got this when we sat down.
Those I would characterize more as changes to the existing ordinance. I think that's what the original movement intended and the substitute movement intended. So they are, essentially, it's the ordinance that's been before you before as modified in accordance with the motion and the substitute motion. And the substitute motion's now before.
The reason I'm hung up on this chart is so it says, so where does it say? It says, so if you go halfway down, it says by at least 4 votes. So does that mean, let's assume it's still 5. Does that mean it has to be 5-0?
No, it has to be 4 out of 5.
Okay, but that'd be 4-1, and it doesn't seem like the difference would be 3.
I think there's confusion about the question, Councilman. What's?
Well, so if you have to win by 4 votes, to me means you've got to win by 4 or more. The only way to do that is to get all 5 people.
I think the clear intent is to say you've got to get at least, or you got to get
It's
4
clearly
votes.
not clear
It's
since
the
I don't understand
commission
it.
is
and
5
I'm
members, 4
defying
of
anybody
them
to
have
see.
to vote for it.
Okay.
Right.
All right, so with 4 votes, because that's the way I would have phrased it, but whatever. Okay, so I'll read that the same as down below.
All right, Councilman, any additional questions?
I do. So I am curious, where do public records requests fall in this? Are they covered by this? Are they covered by some other law?
Mayor, Councilman Waring, not 100% clear on what you mean.
So somebody pulls a public records request on one or all of us, and somebody doesn't comply. Is that an ethics violation, or is that in the time that the person's asking?
The ethics ordinance, as it currently exists, and I have my copy here.
Public records was never part of
They're
our
not.
discussion.
Okay,
and-
so
No.
I'm just asking the question. I mean,
Oh, it's totally separate from this.
Generally,
I'd like
that-
to have our lawyer actually tell me that rather than,
Generally, that's true. I need to look at the ordinance, though, to tell you, because I think that the ordinance language,
okay, so this is the second time I've been told it was really clear, but you have to go look it up. So it must not be as clear and definitive for the rest of us as it may be,
I
I
just
guess,
don't,
to everybody else.
I'm sorry, Mayor, Councilman Waring, I just don't have it at the tip of my,
I understand. That's
my
why I'm
memory
asking.
as
Me
opposed
neither.
to my understanding.
I mean,
So the language says, here's the language, quote, so you can file a complaint if, quote, the utmost standards of personal integrity, truthfulness, honesty, and fairness in carrying out the public duties, close quote, was at stake. And so I suppose if someone said that a council member consistently violated the Public Records Act, that might go to the utmost standards of personal integrity, truthfulness, honesty, and fairness in carrying out the public duties of the office. But ordinarily, if there's a public records request, it's governed by public records law in the state. And that means we have to comply with a certain amount of time. And the obligation's on us, the city, not on you, the individuals.
so, again, yes or no, public records request, you don't return, somebody asks for documents in 20 days or something. You don't provide them. Ethics violation, yes or no? It should be that clear cut.
It is clear cut. It wouldn't be an ethics
Okay,
violation,
thank
just
you.
on
That's
those
not what it
facts.
sounded like when you, what you
Yeah,
just
just
said.
on those facts, it would be clear cut.
So you talked about lying, so I'm going to read you something from the Arizona Republic, actually. So there's a little bit of talk from Bob Robb's article, July 31st, 2015. He talks about honest cheats. He's referring to the Prop 487 debate. Then he writes, the honest cheat, however, isn't enough for the current crew at City Hall, meaning us. They also lie, dissemble, and misdirect. And they do it on the ballot itself. I could read all this, but that's not really necessary. So he's basically saying some members of this council, a majority actually, lied on the ballot in 2015. Now, that's one guy. Doesn't really, I mean, he's in the paper, but he doesn't really have any more clout than any other citizen when you put it like that. But he is making a claim. He provides quite a few facts to back that up. I'm sure he could find some lawyers who would agree. So is that a frivolous claim, or is that, because now we're getting into putting stuff on the ballot. Did people lie, dissemble, and misdirect? How do we prove that we didn't? Do we have to get lawyers? He's not really talking about me, I voted the other way, but
So,
should I
Mayor-
be concerned about that if something else comes up like this?
So, Mayor, Councilman Waring, I think one of the things that the motion is designed to do is to interpose this frivolous filter so that all complaints have to go through the filter initially. And the filter then would require the members of the commission to make an initial determination whether or not it's in the nature of a political disagreement, which is really the thrust of that article, that the person who drafted the article believes that the basis for what was on the ballot wasn't accurate, but that's in part a political judgment, and the frivolous filter then would address those kinds of issues. There, in point of fact, the ordinance makes clear that there has to be an objective, a violation of the utmost standards of personal integrity, truthfulness, honesty, and fairness. And a difference of opinion would not constitute that, even though people marshal facts in favor of their opinion.
All right, so you're putting yourself in the head of 5 or 7 people that we have no idea even who they are and what they're going to think is their charge. But okay, I just wanted to throw that out there, that this could, I mean, despite possibly Thelda's best intentions. And again, I'm not supposed to be worried, but last time I got my briefing about this, like 3 hours before the meeting, I found out about this meeting, at least I knew about that meeting. This meeting I found out about yesterday, and I got this chart when I sat down at my desk just now. So it doesn't seem like my input is very valued. But I'll go for it. I mean, I'll vote for it. I would like the 7 members, though. I don't think that's, to the maker of the motion, an unreasonable request.
Gonna do it?
The idea that this is
Give me 7
tightly
members.
defined and we know exactly what it's going to do, I would say, given your answers, and it's not your fault, Brad, that is simply not true.
Mayor?
Okay, thank you very much. Councilman Nowakowski, please.
No, Mayor, I would support the 7 members also. It adds more diversity to the committee, and seeing that the city of Phoenix is so diverse, it'll help us out. I think 7 will be fine. If that's all right with the secondary maker of the motion.
All right, thank you very much. Other comments or questions? Councilman DeCiccio, please.
Thank you. Just going through the question, when did you see this chart, Brad?
That chart,
Yeah.
I took a look at it last night.
So you saw it last night?
Right.
So my question to Ed, why didn't we get it until we sat down? If you got this yesterday,
I
how
did
come
not
we
get
didn't
this
get it until like
yesterday.
2
No.
minutes ago?
I didn't get it yesterday.
And
I
I
think it
did
came
see
from
it after
Councilwoman
hours.
Williams.
Well, then how come, may I ask the city attorney why he never got it to the city manager? Brad, why did you never get this to the city manager?
I was just asked to review the chart as a general matter in terms of how it looked and jived with the ordinance. And so I just did a very cursory review after hours last night, approximately 5:30, 6 o'clock, something like that.
So, did you thoroughly vet it then? I'm hearing that the answer is no.
I think that's right. I took a little bit more serious look at it today.
So, Ed, when did you, as a city manager, see this chart?
This chart was at my place when I sat down.
Okay.
Mayor, could I respond? I
Councilman Williams,
wanted-
if you'd like to respond, please do so.
I asked last evening if I could distribute this, because this is an unusual situation where a council person is bringing forth a potential solution to a problem. I was prohibited because that violated the open meeting law. I cannot distribute it to all members of the council.
Mayor, Councilwoman Williams, that's absolutely correct. Councilwoman Williams' office showed this to me late last night, and the request was made then, can I distribute it last night to all council members? And my response was, no, that was a potential open meetings violation because she would have been communicating in seriatim a policy issue in the nature of a discussion of proposed change to the ordinance outside of a public meeting and that wasn't posted.
But not the city manager? That's weird. That looks funky. I'm just telling you what it looks like. It looks bizarre.
Okay, any other comments or
It's
questions by member
bizarre.
of this council? Councilman Waring, you have additional
Yeah,
questions?
I do. Actually, just a statement. So there was some back and forth about I guess whose fault it is this has taken 5 years to get here. I know it's not mine. I very clearly communicated to the mayor's office in 2012, I think it was, or 13, when Rick Romley was here. I was prepared to vote with it before us today. And I know that there was 2 other members, then members, of the council who were also willing to vote for it. Please remember, the Democrats have always had more members of this council than the Republicans. It's been 5-4, now it's 6-3. Whose fault is it this took 5 years? I don't think it was mine. You didn't need any of our votes to pass this, but we were going to vote for it anyway. Now here we are, 5 years later? I laughed last week when I heard how, this has been delayed. So it took a year. You had a year from last year when you found out that you couldn't use the judge to appoint the members. 1 year. All that happened was a couple keystrokes in the computer. You changed it to the JSAB instead of chief judge, and you went from whatever members, 3 members to 5 members. That probably took all of 10 seconds. But for some reason, it took a year to get back here again, and then I got a briefing a couple hours in advance. I don't know. Whose fault is that? I know it's not mine. The fact that votes couldn't have been garnered before now for this, don't look at Sal and me. That's just silly. So you can sell that story all you want, but it's not right. It is completely inaccurate, and here we are. I don't know. I guess it's time to vote.
I agree. It's time to vote.
Mayor, I just got one comment.
Councilman Kowski,
Just some
let's
clarification.
keep talking. Why not? Councilman Nowakowski,
Just some clarification. We did update our ethics handbook a while back, and the hiccup or the delay is just actually a committee to enforce it. Right now, we actually go through the city manager, and if he needs to go to outside counseling, he would go to either the state or the county for that. So there is a process. I just don't want individuals to think out there that we're running around without any type of a handbook that we as council members or commissioners of this great city have no type of ethics handbook that we're following. We do have a process. We're just debating right now who's this committee going to be made up of and how many individuals and what's the diversity of it. Just for clarification for those individuals watching and out here in the audience.
Councilman Valenzuela.
No, I actually appreciate that last comment from Councilman Nowakowski. We've actually seen, we're all constituents as well, we're all taxpayers, so we've actually seen some issues, legal issues that have, people doing things that are wrong at every level of government. I don't believe that has ever been the case for the Phoenix City Council. And I don't think anyone has ever been in trouble legally, through court and so on and so forth. I mean, just recently we had a former congressman who was finally released from prison. Those issues have not taken place at this level of government here at the city of Phoenix that I know of. And that speaks to the integrity, I believe, of the council going all the way back. And but it is the right thing to do for the sake of transparency, for the sake of integrity of our city to have an ethics ordinance, and I agree with part of what Councilman Waring just mentioned about now it's time to vote. We can continue as we did a week or so ago to talk about this issue. And my concern, if you may remember, when I made the motion just a week or so ago, when it was finally moved and it was moved to, it was continued, my concern was that when we finally do talk about it again, there'd be enough talk in this council to actually continue it again. So I'm glad that we're finally to this point. It's what the public expects of us, and I'm looking forward to casting my vote in support.
All right, thank you very much, Councilman Valenzuela. Councilman Waring, you had more, please.
Are we doing 7 or 5? Did we agree to the 7? Is that part of the motion?
If it's, right now, it's 5 with, and I'm looking at Councilwoman Williams' chart, which I agree with. It shows 5 members And on the left, for those who are watching, I don't know if it's on television, but when you look at the inquiry process, the third box on the left by at least 4 votes. Now, obviously, that that 4 out of 5 people have to agree to that. Now, if we move to 7, there'll be some other things that have to be moved. I would be comfortable with the current makeup of 5, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and 1 independent. I think that we can still get the diversity that we're looking for. I certainly wouldn't appreciate, I think it's a good place to be now.
All right, so the motion is for 5 members. The substitute motion included specific dates of implementation. That's the motion that's on the table. Are there any additional comments or questions relative to the motion?
I am
Councilwoman
curious.
Pastor?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Councilman Marion, please.
I have a question for Thelda, since she made the original motion and it's her chart. What do you think about the 7 versus the 5?
I really don't care if it's 7 members, as long as we change the votes proportionally based on the 7. I think it's important that we have the strength, that we prevent any frivolous. It doesn't make a bit of difference to me whether it's 5 or 7. It has to be uneven, and I don't want it to be a huge group, because then it becomes a logistic nightmare. So I'll agree with the 7.
What would be the number, Councilwoman? 4 out of 5 is 80%. Proportionately, we're talking 5 to 6 members.
So it'd probably be 6, right?
5.6, we can round up, make it 6 members out of 7.
Right.
And the makeup, would we all agree, I think, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, 3 independents?
Fine with me?
Great.
Okay.
Mayor, can I just ask a quick question based on that? So as I recall, in the original ordinance, the independent had to be a unanimous approval by the council to be appointed. If that's still the same, are we talking about all 3 of those independents being unanimously approved? Do I have that right, Dan? So,
It says, well, I had this, we had to approve by 3/4 vote, so it would be changing the unanimous.
to 3/4 for everybody?
Yeah.
I just wanted to
for the
make that clear.
committee.
Perfect. Thank you.
I don't care, I mean,
I'm perfect with that adjustment, so it's 3/4 vote in accordance with this for all 7 members if we go to
Right.
a 7-member. But we don't have that motion on the table.
well, that's included on the chart.
I'm sorry, going to 7 members.
Oh,
I do have a question. Can we even go to 7 members, given that we already had the substitute motion on the table with the 5 members, the current makeup and the current chart?
We have a motion.
I don't want to do anything that's going to prolong this process, and if this is where we need to be, then this is where we need to be.
We have a motion and a substitute motion. Our rules only allow for 1 amendment. A substitute is treated as an amendment, so unless it were a friendly change to the substitution, which isn't really provided for in the rules, it's locked in now at the substitute motion. You'd have to vote on that motion, and then if that motion goes down and you wanted to reconfigure the motion, same motion with 7 people, you could vote on that again.
If that's the case, and I hope my colleagues will forgive me for this, but I would want to keep it at 5 members, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, 1 independent. I don't want to delay this process any further.
And Brad, the independent has to be unanimous by us.
Not in accordance with the motion. As I understand the motion, all 5 are
have to be approved,
by 7 members.
right.
Right.
Okay, so the motion current as it stands is 5 members, 2 Democrat, 2 Republican, 1 independent. Each would have to be approved by a 3/4 vote of this body. Okay, that's the motion on the table. Any other comments or questions on that motion? Councilman Alkowski, please.
Can you make a friendly amendment to a secondary motion?
Ordinarily not. You'd have to suspend the rules unanimously and then go to that.
I'm sorry, we could vote there on his.
Okay, are there any additional comments or questions? Okay, I'll be supportive of the motion. Sometimes as we've debated this over the years, it appears almost as this is a issue of first impression before this council. The reality is that almost every other big city in the United States of America has a ethics ordinance that includes an independent ethics commission. It would be impossible to figure out every single possible contour of that. The message of this council is that ethics matters, and it's important to have an independent body to help us think through and act through these very, very important issues. So if voted in the affirmative here today, I think it's a very important step for this city council to join our big cities around the United States of America in stressing how important ethics is, as well as creating a independent body to help guide us through these important issues. And that's why today's motion is so important. I appreciate Councilwoman Williams very much for providing additional clarity on the issue of potential frivolous complaints, as well as the exact membership and how the members would be included. Those are important issues to come to resolution on. But the core of the matter is today we're voting on the creation of an independent ethics commission to be a watchdog, and that's important for us to have as a big city here in the United States of America. So I'll be supporting the motion. Any other comments? Roll call.
Councilman DeCiccio.
Yes.
Councilman Noakowski.
I'd like to explain my reasoning.
Please.
I'll be supporting this, but I really thought we should have went to 7 members to have more diversity. We have a very diverse community, and I believe that 5 individuals wouldn't represent the diversity of this great city of ours. So with that, I'll be voting yes.
Councilwoman Pastor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Stark.
Yes.
Councilman Valenzuela.
Yes.
Councilman Waring. Councilwoman Williams. Vice Mayor Gallego.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yeah, so the motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Councilwoman Williams, for your important guidance and helping us get us over the finish line. We have one other item. Councilman DeCiccio wanted to know if the city manager today
Not if.
had any reports or budget updates. Do you, Mr. City Manager, today, or do you want to hold off for a future meeting?
Oh, Mayor, I've got a question of the budget.
Mayor, we have a budget item on the 21st, which is what I would have said on the reports and budget updates item.
Okay, and Councilman DeCiccio, did you have a question on the budget? If you had a question, he can brief you in private session in advance of that
Oh,
meeting,
I
or we
wanna
can
make
wait
it
till that
public.
meeting.
Want to make it public is all. Want to know why we don't have a 5-year budget. We've had it every year, and it's because of the concerns I had and Councilman Waring has had, because the following years are going to be problematic. I just think that the public needs to see the 5-year budget that we've all agreed on. And when is that going to come forward, Ed?
Mayor, Councilman DeCiccio, that's what's scheduled for February 21st.
It's a 5-year.
It's the 5-year forecast, yes, sir.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And I think 3 members of the council have asked for a special meeting to occur at 5:15 here. And so we'll see you at 5:15. Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned.